Welcome to Tourism Talk. I'm your host, Mary Hammond, Director of the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you for joining us. Today I have a special guest from the Yeiser Arts Center. Her name is Catie Bates. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Glad you're here today. Catie is pretty new at her job. She started this past year. In fact, 2 new people at the Yeiser Arts Center this year. A lot of changes, but that doesn't mean it isn't full steam ahead. After 50 years, so this is the 50th anniversary?
It is the 50th anniversary of the Yeiser. We're very excited and very honored to be new and bring some new energy for another 50 years. Who knows?
Well, it's pretty exciting, and the Yeiser Arts Center is part of what I call the heartbeat of our downtown, the old market house. And how appropriate that the art gallery would be called the Yeiser Arts Center when Mary Yeiser's grandfather, as mayor, helped get that place built, get the market house built in 1905. And for a long time it was known as the Paducah Art Guild. And just, gosh, within the last few years, it made the change to Yeiser to honor Mary Yeiser. Have you met her?
I have not met Mary. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get to celebrate her birthday this coming April as well with the 50th anniversary of the Yeiser. It's a pretty big year for us, so I'm looking forward to that. She is still around. She lives in Bardstown, and she is, I believe, 101 years old. So
we should never talk about a lady's age, but you know what? When you reach that big milestone, very proud of it.
Yes.
Well, Mary Yeiser would be very proud of what's happening down there, especially hosting 2 Smithsonian exhibits. I just think that's fabulous, and as a staff that you all jumped through all the hoops that are there in order to get these shows. But let's back up for just a moment and tell me about Yeiser, about yourself, and about Landy, who works with you, Landy Bryant. And between you, you split the duties, and even though you are called a gallery specialist, basically you do the director's duties. Is that correct?
That is correct. Landy and I pretty much work as a team together to run the Arts Center, which is in itself a business, as well as an art gallery, and also we have an amazing gift shop. So we do have a lot of responsibilities to the center and to the community. We serve a lot of tourism. We are in a spot downtown that is a prime location. We see lots of people on the weekends and try to plan shows that represent Paducah well and are interesting and can be something that people look forward to coming to see from the community and from
the region. And you are from the region.
I am. I'm from Murray. I went to school at Murray State University, and my parents are artists, so I've been involved in the arts.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yes, so I've always had an interest in the arts, and I started working at the gallery at Murray State while I was in school, and just really enjoyed that experience, being able to work with the artists and understand art and see art, and also be able to be a sort of mediator between the community and the art and artists. I feel it's very important to have someone who has a background in education help explain to people who don't necessarily have, who have studied art in particular, but to help them understand artists' work and how and why they do things that they do. So that's sort of what I feel like my purpose is, and I think the Yeiser has been a definite, a great place for me to be able to use what I know and also to be able to communicate with the public.
Sure, and bring these shows to us, make it personal, help us to understand why is that art. And the shows that are going on now and the next show definitely let us know that art is not just a painting. Just a painting. Well, tell me a little bit about Landy, and then we'll get into the exhibit.
Landy as well, Landy Bryant, she's from Catie's, and she also got a degree at Murray State. She has a fine arts degree in weaving and photography, so she is also an artist. And she's lived in Paducah for a few years now. I personally just moved here about 7 months ago to do this job, and we both we really love it here, and we're very excited to be able to work together. And she also has a teacher's degree in art education, so she's an asset to the Yeiser because of this background. So we are able to bring in groups, school groups, to come through our gallery, and she has a language to work with them and help them to understand the art and what's on our walls and what's going on. So between the two of us, we definitely, I think we make a great team.
Good.
And can really turn the Yeiser into a place that anyone can come into and feel comfortable, whether they know fine art or just are an appreciator.
Now your board, it, of course, gives you the direction, and it's under your board chair, Susan French, and she's great. I think
Susan's
that she's
great.
She has vision, as have your past directors. Gosh, and they're people, once they've been active in Yeiser, seem to continue. It is a passion, and people carry it with them out into the community when their time is done on the board. So that's
Definitely.
good. Did you ever participate in Teen Spirit?
I did not participate in Teen Spirit. I can't recall. High school was actually a while back for me, but I wasn't ever. I learned and studied process with art. I didn't actually do very much creating myself, except in order to learn how to do something. So I've never really proclaimed myself as an artist.
For someone who's a business major, see that kind of thing. It's like, oh, well, you can major in art and not paint. So I'm putting it to an extreme, but yes, a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to be an artist to.
I never painted at all. Exactly. I did metalsmithing. It was actually my area.
Cool.
So I did make jewelry for a while.
But the Yeiser, right now, down at Yeiser, the Teen Spirit is one of the exhibits that's up, complementing a Smithsonian exhibit.
Right. The Teen Spirit Show is hosted by the Yeiser annually and is sponsored by the Jackson Purchase Energy Cooperative. And so this year, normally the students just submit work and are able to make whatever they want. This year, however, we gave them the theme of food, any kind of food-related topic for them to create and show while the Smithsonian exhibition is up. We think that that's a great honor to be able to show at the same time.
Well,
but
let's skip ahead here, because as people who are watching this and they're going, well, why are they showing all that food in the background? Well, sorry, we haven't talked about that yet, but the Smithsonian exhibit is entitled
Key Ingredients, America by Food. Yes, it has taken a couple of years, at least 2 years. I believe in 2005, the previous director began seeking out sponsorship in a way to host such a show that's put together by the Smithsonian Institution. It's called Key Ingredients, and the idea behind these shows, they're put together by a traveling exhibition group under the Smithsonian, as well as museums on Main Street. And the idea is to come up with a show that is familiar, a topic that's familiar to everyone, that's a common language. And food, obviously, is something that we all are very familiar with.
And passionate about.
Very passionate about. This is true. So they put together this exhibition regarding the history of food and how it shapes our culture and how it influences our daily lives and our families and our communities. So it's a really informative, educational exhibit with different examples from canning to your mother's recipe box, you know, things that we really have taken for granted and you just kind of don't think about anymore.
Food is a peek into the past, into the history. My friend, who's a quilter and comes for the quilt show, one year when she was preparing to leave, she gave me a big envelope of nothing but really, really old recipes, or receipts as they called it at one time, all written by hand. And it was so interesting to go through them. Not that I've made any of them, but they're a real treasure, and I feel like I have a piece of history. And I think that all of your, throughout the month of February, have different activities on the weekends to drive this point home, for lack of a better way to put it.
Well, one of the important elements to hosting such a show is to have local event planning, because the idea is to get the community back into small town museums or libraries or art centers such as ours. So throughout February we are hosting a series of events. Every weekend there's something, and you can find details and more specific information on our website, www.theyeiser.org.
Theyeiser.org.
Yeiser.
Y-E-I-S-E-R.
Exactly.
Or if you haven't gotten that down, I know that you already have bookmarked Paducah.travel. So you can always get to Yeiser, get to the calendar of events for Paducah by going to the Paducah Tourism website. So that's Paducah.travel. But I want you to see the Yeiser.org. That's great. All types of events. Can you give us a little bit of a peek into those weekends?
Sure. We're working with different other museums, and Maiden Alley will be hosting movies regarding food. I believe they're showing, I think Babette's Feast is one of their movies. We have invited some speakers from the Kentucky Humanities Council to come in and lecture. I know Jonathan Jeffrey will be lecturing about Duncan Hines, A Legacy. And Daryl Harris will be in doing a lecture, Someone's in the Kitchen with Dinah. And that event specifically will be with the Hotel Metropolitan, which
I love the cooperative working together. Well, Dinah was from Kentucky?
Yes, I believe so.
Who would have thought?
I know.
Everybody knows that song.
Right, exactly. So that event is going to be great for us, and it's really nice to be able to work with other venues downtown, lower town, upper town, sort of everywhere. We'll
hear the story of Dinah, and who was cooking in the kitchen, and then there'll be foods. I believe upper town and we'll have
their own
down-home foods. Good.
Yeah, they'll have a food tasting with recipes, I believe, that are directly linked to Dinah.
There's a cookbook, isn't there, to go with that?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's the recipes. A lot of the food is coming directly from that recipe book. What else do we have?
But this will go on through the month of February, and then you'll have a break, and then go into a second Smithsonian show. Now, this is no easy task preparing for this. I mean, the last time I looked, I mean, not only was it a pretty good-sized sponsor, but you had to have security measures. I mean, they were very precise on setting the stage for these exhibits. And I'm just pleased that right here on Main Street, which is how it's supposed to be, that we have such fabulous exhibits. Now the next one's totally different from food.
Definitely, but still a topic, a common name that we are all familiar with, which is the National Geographic. This exhibit is called In Focus, National Geographic's Greatest Portraits.
It's still through the Smithsonian.
It's still through the Smithsonian. Same idea. It's put together by the Smithsonian Institute Traveling Exhibition Service. And like I said, there's smaller shows that can come into smaller towns that are from the Smithsonian archives. I mean, it's information that they've gathered. And these are particular, I believe there's 56 portraits, the original photographs from the magazines that we've all grown up with, and images that we're all familiar with. And
so we will recognize these?
I believe you will, yes. I know you will. I mean, there are some that I do recognize, and they're spectacular. The images are really, I've only seen small replicas, but I think that it's going to be a pretty spectacular event. I expect to see a lot of faces in our door. So,
aside from some of them that we may recognize from National Geographic, I mean, they've done a lot of coffee table books, that kind of a thing. So there may be some photos, portraits that have been through these. And these aren't just from America; they're from around the world.
Yes,
portraits.
Yes, they're from everywhere.
Some action, or mostly
I believe
posed.
so. And like I said, they are portraits, so there's always a figure in these images. and as opposed to landscapes and animals, which is most commonly associated with the National Geographic.
Okay.
But they are from all over the world.
As we were sitting here before we started filming, there was a photo flashed up, and it was a battle scene, looked like from World War II, and I really wasn't even making the connection with portraits. So they aren't necessarily the classic portraits.
Exactly.
But how appropriate with Clint Eastwood's movie that he's got out about Iwo Jima and the letters from Iwo Jima. I recently read the book, and I was totally surprised what I didn't know about that time period, about that battle.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be ways to learn about different events in history through these portraits.
Definitely, definitely.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So when these come, they just come in great big crates. I mean, these are what I saw you pushing down the street the other day.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Here, I thought you all were out just getting exercise. So
No.
it was a big deal getting all this.
It is a big deal. We did get a grant to up our security for these shows, and they do arrive in big crates, and they do take an extra amount of work regarding security and taking care of these shows. The In Focus show comes from all the way from California to us, so it is a big deal.
Sure.
These shows are being shown all over our country, so taking care of them and hosting them is an honor, and we are very lucky to be able to be selected.
Yes.
We are chosen. Just because we have, the money doesn't necessarily mean anybody can do this. So we are very lucky to be able to.
Well, the setting, the community support. Now you have Jackson Purchase. Who's your second sponsor for the?
Well, WBSD Channel 6 has been a great sponsor for us. USEC is also sponsoring the National Geographic show, and we've gotten support from WKMS 91.3.
Your board's committed to there not being a charge for these shows.
Well, that's part of the stipulation. Actually, is that these shows are available to the public at no cost, because they really want for people to see them. They want people to come out and get into the community and be involved in the art centers and museums and libraries that would host such a show. And normally, Yeiser Arts Center is free and open to the public year-round. We do accept donations and run on membership, but for the most part, anyone can come in at any time.
And school groups. Hopefully you'll get some of those as well.
Now we have many school groups planned already.
Good.
So.
And Landy, with her background and your background, you're able to do a program with the school children. You are open 5 days a week.
Yes, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 until 4 in the evening. And we do have receptions, and you can look for those on the website
or at the beginning
in
of
the
each
paper.
show, right?
Usually when the show opens, about a week later, we have an opening reception, so we're open later in the evening, and we have refreshments and food.
And there'll be some with these weekends, with the activities going on. Are these activities that are happening during the day, like on Saturday? Okay.
Yes, for the most part, during the mid-afternoon is most of the scheduling, unless it's the movie. But I believe that the Market House Theater is running a play as well that's sort of food-related, and we'll have some events at Market House Coffee. There's a couple of events there that are closer to the evening, but
I smelled some of their new coffees. They're definitely food related.
Yes.
Smelled really good.
They are, yes.
That's fun. So working with your neighbors and in downtown, lower town, upper town, what could be better? And I know that personally you'd like to see even more of that working in the community. That's
definitely.
And the gift shop, what a wonderful idea. Robin Taffler was so good in expanding the gift shop. And I love the items that we have here on the table, especially the teapot.
Yes.
I think I've given every different tea set that you've had at the center. I've bought every one of them and given them away. But I love the teapot. I love the Kleenex, if you can't see that, with a little pig nose. Do you have a favorite?
Do I have? Well, I'm a big fan of the pop-up books. I think they're great. They're very interactive, and it takes a lot of creativity to make such a book, so I have a high appreciation for, I think Robert Sabuda is a very popular author of these, and designer, if you will,
Right.
of these pop-up books, and we carry many of his books. And they're fun.
I'm going to reach over here and grab one.
Okay.
Is that okay, Tom?
Yeah.
Oops. Because I think this is so neat, and in case someone has not seen a pop-up book, you'll probably have to hold this
Okay.
right up in front of your chest, but I want it right in front of your chest, and see if you can show what some of these pop-up books are, because they are so spectacular.
Well, this book in particular is One Red Dot, and the concept through this entire book is to find a red dot on each page. But throughout that, this book shows different styles of pop-up design. So this one's kind of fun as you move the page.
I'm not sure these are children's books.
Yeah, well, they are and they aren't. I mean, there's sort of something as an adult would, an older child, or something that you can go through.
I see now why you're so big on this artist.
Right.
And he is an artist.
Yes, I mean,
Most
it definitely takes certain amount of design and thought.
That's neat.
So yeah, they're quite fun. So I'm sort of a fan of that one's pretty.
That's fun.
Get that?
Well, do stop by the Yeiser gift shop, and you'll be surprised there are more books by this same artist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. We have many.
I love the bookends. I love the bottle opener and the pie server that looks like a dog. I particularly like that. So do stop by, and when you're down there, come into the Visitors Bureau, 128 Broadway. We're right next to Papa, another art organization. So we're very excited in Paducah to be a cultural destination. And thank you for everything that you do to help with this. Tell us, let's run over some dates again here. So through the month of February is the Teen Spirit and Key Ingredients.
Yes. Throughout February and the beginning of March, and then throughout March and April to the beginning of May will be the National Geographic In Focus.
Now, In Focus, and that's the portraits, is that the only exhibit on at that time?
Yes, yes.
So they'll take the entire gallery?
They'll take the entire space. We actually had to have extra wall space built in order to be able to display all the images. So.
And it's all photography, where the Key Ingredients, multi-dimensional?
Yes, it is. It's set up sort of like a museum panels, informative, with pictures and then some interactive information, displays, some old cookbooks and kitchen implements and that sort of thing. So,
I bet that there are a lot of old National Geographics around. I know when we just moved my mother out of her house, and there were a lot of old National Geographics. One of my favorite things to get out of them are the old ads.
Oh.
And the Coca-Cola ads are fun, and they were artsy in themselves.
Definitely. It's a beautiful magazine. It's
Yes.
been around for a long time for a reason.
Longer than Yeiser.
Yes.
All right. Well, we hope that we will see you down at the corner of 2nd and Broadway at the Yeiser Arts Center, right there, part of the Market House, 1 block from the river. Go in and see Landy and Catie. They're there 5 days a week, 10 to 4, or their new website, theyeiser.org. And what's your telephone?
It's 270, of course, 442-2453.
If you have any questions, give them a call. If you have any wonderful ideas on tying into these exhibits, I know that Catie would like to hear them, and who knows, she likes to be involved in the community. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
We'll get down there and talk about the exhibits to come for the rest of 2007, because I know you have a great schedule, and more ways to involve the rest of the community and help us learn about art.
Definitely.
Thanks, Catie.
Thank you.
We'll see you again on Tourism Talk. Thank you.